What happens when the son of one of the most powerful men in the world steps away from privilege and chooses to forge his own path? When a name that once carried influence and prestige suddenly becomes a burden? Barron Trump did the unthinkable. He walked away from the life that was planned for him, leaving behind wealth, security, and the expectations that came with being the son of a former president. What he encountered on his journey would challenge him in ways he never imagined. Struggle, rejection, failure, but also resilience, determination, and ultimately a moment that would shake the world. Stay with us until the end to witness the unbelievable transformation of Barron Trump and the moment that changed everything. From the moment Barron Trump was born, his life was under a microscope. Growing up in the political spotlight meant every move he made was scrutinized, every decision judged. While most kids his age were riding bikes and playing video games without a care in the world, Barron was learning how to navigate high-profile events, shake hands with world leaders, and maintain a public image he never chose. His family expected him to follow a certain path: politics, business, influence. It was all laid out for him. "You don't get to be just another kid, Barron. You're a Trump," his father had told him once. But what if he didn't want that path? What if he wanted to experience life without the shadow of his last name dictating his every move? That question lingered in his mind for years, growing louder with every news article, every online comment, every false assumption about who he was supposed to be. By the time he turned 18, Barron had made up his mind. He needed to find his own way. One night, while the city lights of New York flickered outside his penthouse window, he packed a single backpack, a few clothes, some cash, and a notebook. No security, no credit cards, no calls to family. He slipped away into the night, boarding a bus that would take him far from the world he had always known. But stepping into the real world was nothing like he expected. Without connections or wealth, life was different. Job applications were rejected instantly. Employers didn't care about his last name. They cared about experience, something he didn't have. He tried working at a coffee shop but was let go after spilling a customer's drink. Rent was due, money was running out, and for the first time, Barron felt what it was like to struggle. He had always been told he could be anything he wanted. Now, for the first time, he wondered if that was even true. One cold night, Barron sat on a park bench, watching the city move around him. He had hit rock bottom. Everything he tried seemed to fail. Was his father right? Was he unprepared for the real world? Then came the phone call. A voice on the other end introduced himself as the director of an international program. "We know who you are," the man said, "but what matters to us is who you can become. We have a challenge for you." Barron was skeptical. Was this just another attempt to pull him back into the world he left? But he listened. "You will be placed in an unknown location. No money, no resources, just your determination. If you want to prove yourself, this is how." Barron accepted. He wanted to see if he could truly survive on his own, without his name carrying him. The program dropped him off in a small town with nothing but a list of jobs and $100. No internet, no safety net, just him and the challenge of making something from nothing. For days he searched for work. Doors slammed in his face. No one wanted to take a chance on someone with no experience. Finally, he convinced a small diner owner to let him work for free, just to prove himself. The first week was brutal. Cleaning dishes, scrubbing floors, making mistake after mistake. But he refused to quit. Then disaster struck. One evening, while rushing through a packed restaurant, he tripped, spilling an entire tray onto an important customer. It was over. The owner let him go. Fired. For the first time in his life, he had no safety net. Barron had two choices: give up and return home, or stand back up and fight. He chose the latter. A few days later, he found another opportunity at a small coffee shop. This time, he approached things differently. He watched, he learned, he adapted. Instead of focusing on avoiding failure, he focused on improvement. Within weeks, he became one of the best baristas at the shop. But then, the media found him. A leaked photo of him working behind the counter went viral. Some praised him for stepping away from privilege. Others called it a PR stunt. The backlash was brutal. Within days, reporters flooded the cafe. The owner, not wanting the attention, had no choice but to let him go. This time, Barron didn't run. He didn't hide. Instead, he turned to social media and recorded a video. "I didn't leave my family for attention. I left to prove to myself that I could stand on my own." The video exploded. People who once criticized him started seeing the truth. He wasn't trying to play a role. He was trying to be himself. As support for Barron grew, so did his confidence. He was invited to speak at a global youth summit and later at the United Nations. When he took the stage, the world watched. "For years, I was defined by a name, but we are not defined by where we come from. We are defined by the choices we make." His words struck a chord, a standing ovation. The moment that once seemed impossible had become reality. Barron Trump had not only proven himself, he had inspired a generation. What started as an escape turned into a movement. Barron Trump's journey proved that no matter where you come from, your destiny is in your hands. If his story teaches us anything, it's this: you don't have to be trapped by expectations. You don't have to follow a path laid out for you. You have the power to create your own future. If this story inspired you, share your thoughts in the comments. What would you do if you had the chance to redefine your future? And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories that challenge what we think we know about the world.